Thanks, Chairman, and thank you, Administrator McCarthy. I do appreciate you being here and appreciate the job your agency is tasked with. And as I mentioned last time you were here, it's important to realize the good work we've already been able to do. According to your own data, aggregate emissions for the 6 common pollutants have decreased 68% since your agency's implementation of the Clean Air Act, while we consume 44% more energy and travel 168% more miles.
Thank you.
We actually are doing well, and that's why I have concerns about an agency that many of in my community and my constituency is continually moving the goalposts as an activist, not as a regulator. My constituents and I do agree that we need smart, reasonable, science-based regulations. And with the botched mercury rule we saw all on display 2 weeks ago, I'm not sure that that has been the case with your agency. I also expect your agency to work with our states and counties as a partner, not a Palpatine. And when former officials from an administration consider EPA's efforts to work with other federal agencies to be a sham, I can tell you that it does not appear your collaboration with our state agencies has been any better. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to enter into the record a letter from the U.S. Conference of Mayors, the National Association of Counties, the National League of Cities, and the National Association of Regional Councils. It's dated March 17, 2015, where they call on the EPA to retain the existing ozone standard set in 2008, which still has not been fully implemented.
Without objection, so ordered.
I'd also like to point out the effect these changed standards will have on the state of Illinois and on many of the counties that I represent. The Center for Regulatory Solutions released a study today which showed how EPA's proposed ozone regulations, the most expensive regulation in history, will cause significant burden to the Chicago area economy. As you can see from the slides above, with 21 counties out of attainment, I'm worried about the overall impact. And if you change to the second slide, you'll see how bad this is for the collar counties that I represent. We are putting 73% of the state's already fragile GDP at risk. Last year, Illinois enrolled twice as many new recipients on SNAP benefits than it created jobs. Just last week, the Illinois Black Chamber of Commerce, joined by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and the National Black Chamber of Commerce, hosted a symposium on the economic and employment impacts the ozone proposal would have in Chicago and on minority communities. It is clear this rule will have a disparate impact on low-income communities, communities of minorities, and seniors on fixed incomes. Administrator McCarthy, this should be a quick answer, but do you consider your agency's efforts to coordinate and collaborate with our state and local officials to be better, worse, or the same as your efforts to collaborate with other federal agencies such as DOE?
I think we collaborate very well with both our sister federal agencies as well as our state and local communities.
That's not what we're hearing, and in some ways it reminds me of when I was in school and we'd have group projects and there would be one person who wouldn't do any work. The teacher would ask how it went. Everybody would put in a slip of paper saying this person didn't carry their weight, and then that person would stand up and say, I did the whole project myself and everybody else is dumb. That's kind of the approach that I feel it's happening right now when we're hearing from other agencies and certainly hearing from our state and counties.
The studies that you're quoting didn't even study this proposal.
The studies I'm quoting are talking about the impact, and it just was released today. I don't know if you've seen it, but we can make sure you have it. This is the one, and it absolutely is dealing with increase of your proposal. We'll make sure you have it, and you can review it, and you can respond to us later. Again, we just got it. It was just released today, so I haven't been holding it back from you. But it's something that if we would have gotten it sooner, we would have gotten it too sooner. But it just came out today.
Yep.
In the letter I submitted, the National Conference of Mayors pointed out that the Clean Air Act requires transportation conformity to ensure federally supported transportation activities are consistent with state air quality implementation plans. The Chicago area is the largest rail hub in the country. According to the Center for Regulatory Solutions, freight traffic is expected to increase by 80% by 2020. How does EPA expect the most financially troubled state in the country to implement these standards when the agency has not and will not consider the full potential cost of implementation?
If I could just point out, sir, that the health standard sets up a process where states develop plans over time, and there is significant time to achieve this standard.
But the majority. My time has expired. If you could maybe respond in writing back to me on these. These are important questions. Unfortunately, we're limited to 5 minutes.
The vast majority of the counties will be in.
Thank you, Mr. Hultgren, and the gentleman.
As a result of national standards. That's an important thing to remember. This is not on the backs of the states. It is a partnership between the national government and the states to get this done.
The gentleman's time is expired. Thank you, Mr. Hultgren.